It's always something. Always something. Oh my god, it's wrong on Facebook again. I can't stand Facebook. I hate you. Not you guys, but something's wrong with Facebook. I don't know why it keeps doing that. Hey, welcome guys. What am I gonna do with you, Facebook? Jeez almighty. There. Did we fix it? Okay. We're on the right track. Good morning, everybody. Okay. How's the connection? We're live? We're good? Estamos bien. Hola. My eyes watery. No, you should be fine, Michelle. We're rocking now. BL, Flossie, VM, Lexa, Christine. See your post.
In a minute, I'm gonna stop and look where we're at on GPS. Something out there. Heard something. I'm gonna pull up my GPS. See where we're at. We're actually going back towards the trail. We're not going up, we're going sideways. So we can just keep going this way, and I guess we're gonna have to just take the trail back because to go through what we don't know. Here's something creepy for you guys. We thought we were going straight up north, like north. We thought we were going up this. There's something up here. Just heard something. Something's up here. Somebody, an animal or somebody's up here.
Hey, what's up? It's Mel. Welcome, man. Thanks for stopping by. What am I doing here? Oh, there we go. I meant to do this. Hey, welcome. Today we're going to be talking about this crazy case that I came across last night. I had never heard about this. This happened in 2018. Now the plan. I'm smacking my lips. I stop smacking my lips. Is that annoying? Like people do that, especially like if it's in your ear. I don't know. But I'm going to read you one of the articles. We're going to kind of briefly touch on it. I don't want to go in depth. I do have 2 court documents that Flossie sent me last night, but I really want to watch the opening statement. This guy represented himself. It's like 30 minutes long, and I didn't watch it. I purposely didn't watch it because I wanted to watch it together with you guys. So we're going to watch this together. I saw a trailer. The trailer was crazy. So this guy in 2018, he kills his girlfriend and their daughter and almost killed their son, I believe. Now, the daughter Flossie, correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't even like fully looked into it. We're gonna get into it together, but I think the daughter was the one that's nonverbal autistic, I believe. I think that's the one, right, that was killed. So double homicide. I believe we're probably gonna hear part of the 911 call in the opening statements, I think. Oh, and I should show you some of the video too from the crime scene initially, like the outside of the house. I think Flossie sent that to me this morning. I meant to save some things. I didn't save everything. And got all these other messages. That's why I don't like to do all this in between stuff. Okay, here we go. Let's look at this first before we. And this is from 2018. Flossie sent me this. I think it's kind of a great visual before we start. I mean, this guy was batshit crazy. This is what I'll do first. I'm going to read you the article a little bit. We'll go over it briefly. And then I want to show you what it looked like outside of his house in 2018. And then we'll look at the opening statements together. They're supposed to be in trial today. It was supposed to happen at 9 a.m. this morning. So far, I haven't seen them post anything. So if we get through the stream, if they post something towards the end, then we'll watch that too if possible. If not, then maybe later today if time permits. His daughter was autistic, nonverbal. Thanks. So let's take a look at the article first, and then we'll get into the videos. But this is from 2018. Florida man, 29, yelled Allah Akbar as he shot dead his girlfriend, stabbed their 11-year-old daughter to death, and wounded the 8-year-old son, which his son, by the way, is going to testify against him. And Flossie sent me the information too. I believe one of the people from Hillsborough County, one of the deputies adopted the son, I believe, if that's correct. I don't know. So a Florida man had been arrested allegedly going on a murderous rampage that claimed the lives of his girlfriend, their 11-year-old daughter, during which he was screaming Allah Akbar and ranting about demons. Ronnie O'Neal, 29, has been charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count each of attempted murder, arson, and resisting arrest. And there is a court document too that I'm going to read after the videos that is the child fatality report, which is very, very kind of graphic. And so before I read that, at the end, I'll give you like a little heads up that it's graphic, but it's going to give the details about what happened and stuff like that with the child. According to a detailed incident reported, released by the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office at around 11:43 p.m. Sunday, and I believe this happened in March something. I had a note here somewhere. March 18th, I believe, 2018. At around 11:43 on Sunday, the county's emergency dispatch center received a 911 call from a woman later identified as Kenyatta or Keke. I'll just refer to her as Keke if possible. Barron, 33 years old, repeatedly pleading for help and saying she had been shot. Let me show you some of these images. This is what he looked like back then. He looks a lot different now, or a bit different now. That's her right there, Keke, 33 years old. And we're gonna look at some of the video right now outside of the house, but that's another picture of her. That's the house. That's him. This might have been I'm not sure if this is recent or no. This is obviously not recent. The old picture. As she was trying to provide an address for the dispatcher, a male voice apparently belonging to O'Neal could be heard in the background yelling Allah Akbar, which means God is greatest in Arabic. O'Neal identified himself on Facebook as a member of the Nation of Islam, according to Fox 13. Barron told O'Neal that I'm sorry, Ronnie, and then began screaming. The call ended after O'Neal uttered cryptically, "She killed me," and then directed a neighbor to call 911. At 11:51 p.m., O'Neal called 911, telling the dispatcher, "I've just been attacked by some white demons." He added her name is Keke and she tried to kill me and I just killed her. And so the thing he's trying to claim too, by the way, for the people that are joining and stuff like that, he's trying to pull, I would almost say a Chris Watts in a way or whatever, where he's stating that she went to attack the child and she was killing the child and he acted in self-defense and killed her. It just sounds like a bunch of malarkey to me. And his son, which is going to be testifying, is saying that Dad killed Mom. All right. So O'Neal gave the dispatcher the address of the house in the 130 block of Pike Lake Drive in Gibston, Florida. The dispatcher asked the male caller if Keke tried to attack him, and he replied, "Yes, she tried to kill me." Deputies arrived on scene to find Barron lying unresponsive on the front lawn of the house on Pike Lake Drive, which O'Neal allegedly set on fire, which we're going to see in a second because I think there was like a bunch of smoke while responding to paramedics. Sugar and Spice, thank you for the super chat. New sub here, and thank you. I appreciate it. If you guys wouldn't mind hitting subscribe, please, I'd appreciate it. We're trying to get to 40K. I don't want to be here to the rest of the year hovering at 39.8 or whatever. Please, and hit like. So they were on the front lawn of Pike Lake Drive, which O'Neal allegedly set on fire while responding to paramedics were trying to render aid to the dying woman. The officers then forced their way inside the home, at which point the door of the garage opened and blood splattered on Ronnie. O'Neal walked out and headed towards the deputies. Garage door opened and a blood spattered Ronnie. So he had blood all over him. Then gave O'Neal multiple commands to stop and get on the ground, but he ignored them, prompting the officers to tase him. O'Neal was bundled into the back of the patrol vehicle, where he began repeating Allah Akbar. Meanwhile, deputies turned their attention back to the burning house and found inside Barron and O'Neal's 9-year-old son, Ronnie O'Neal IV, suffering from burns and multiple stab wounds. A further search of the residence led officers to the body of Barron and O'Neal's 11-year-old daughter, later identified as Ronnie O'Neal. She was pronounced dead at the scene. While medics were administering first aid to the boy, he stated, "My father shot my mother." He was later transported to Tampa General Hospital, where he underwent surgery and was listed in stable condition. O'Neal made his first appearance in court on Tuesday, and he's being held in Hillsborough County Jail. The father of 3 had a past criminal history, which included charges of marijuana possession and driving without a license. And let's play this here right now. Before we start the opening statements, which, by the way, he also supposedly fired 2 of his public defenders. Let's see, make sure we got HD here. So he's representing himself.
Someone's getting arrested right now.
Dude. It's kind of blurry. Let me see if I can get you guys. Well, it's okay, I guess.
They just tased him.
Gunshot to the chest.
Jesus.
Responding, doing a tank count. Is 2326.
Point 12, I'll say responding to the structure fire. Be advised, that's an active crime scene at this time. They're going to be over on TAC 5. TAC 5 for command. 9-year-old pediatric GSW patient. Aeromed's going to be inbound.
9-year-old was shot.
Fire got you at 2 engine Buffalo Point 12 and engine 29. Please advise if you need additional units for an LZ.
for the LC control.
Roger.
As far as who was killed first, I think I saw Katie ask the question. I believe, I mean, if you want, we can read the fatality report first before we start the full 30-minute video. Maybe let's do that. Let's do the fatality report. We'll read it together. I believe he shot the father, Ronnie O'Neal, shot the mother with a shotgun, and then, like, I guess stabbed the daughter with a tomahawk. Freaking crazy. Let's do this. We'll read this report together first, and then we'll go through the court opening statements where he's representing himself and going crazy. And we'll give some people a chance to join. Let's see what's a better. Yeah, I can do that. So just a heads up, this is kind of graphic for the people that are watching. So this is from 2018. And this is the daughter, Ronnie O'Neal. And so at the time, you know, she was 9 years old. We got the 8-year-old boy, the surviving sibling, the father at the time, 29 years old, and the mother, 33 years old. On March 19, 2018, FSFN was received alleging that the death of 9-year-old Ronnie and hospitalization of 8-year-old occurred at the hands of their father, Ronnie, 29. At the time of the incidents, the children's mother, Keke, is her nickname, was also discovered deceased. Documentation reflects that the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office responded to the family's home just after midnight on March 19, 2018, due to a call related to a domestic violence. Upon law enforcement's arrival, they discovered that the mother was lying face down on the sidewalk near the home. Hillsborough County Fire Rescue arrived at the scene and determined that the mother was deceased. When law enforcement initially arrived at the home, there was no lights coming from the residence. However, after a short time later, a light was observed coming from the corner of the home. As the light grew brighter, it was determined to be caused by a fire within the residence, resulting in law enforcement forcing entry into the home. When law enforcement gained access to the home, the main living area was engulfed in flames. Damn, so he's trying to, like, I wonder if he's trying to get rid of evidence, burn everything inside. Law enforcement yelled for anyone in the residence to exit, and the boy came outside. When the boy appeared, he was covered in blood and was observed with severe abdominal injury and burns. Wow. He was subsequently transferred to a local hospital where he received immediate medical attention. Mr. O'Neal, the father, exited the home a short time later, and he was placed into custody, which is kind of like what we saw with the ambulance thing. I think that was was that the father that was taken into the ambulance, or was that the mother? I think it was the father. I don't know. I wasn't even looking. I was dealing with things behind the scenes. Mr. O'Neal exited the home a short time later and was placed into custody. Ronnie was a nonverbal and on the autism spectrum, was discovered in the home with multiple injuries to include burns and stab wounds. I mean, this guy is sick. All right, we're about to watch this guy defending himself in court. She succumbed to her injuries and was pronounced deceased at the home on March 19, 2018 at 12:30 a.m. The child protection team conducted a forensic interview with the surviving sibling who witnessed a tragic incident. Documentation reflects that on the night of the incident, Mr. O'Neal continually yelled Allah Akbar, God is great, as he shot the mother with a shotgun. And then he stabbed Ronnie with an axe, a tomahawk, and stabbed the boy with a knife. At some point, Mr. O'Neal also used gasoline, tissue, and matches to set the home and Ronnie on fire. Crazy. Yeah, she was nonverbal. During the child protective investigation, interviews were conducted with multiple sources to include neighbors, paternal relatives, and maternal relatives. Sources denied previous concerns for violence in the home, mental health issues, substance use, or erratic behaviors. So they denied previous concerns. The Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office investigated any criminal aspect of Mr. O'Neal, who was arrested on May 20th, 2018 on several charges to include 2 counts of first-degree murder, premeditated, first-degree murder with a weapon, first-degree arson, and resisting an officer without violence. He remains incarcerated at the time of this report. writing. I'm reading kind of fast to kind of, Dr. Mainland with Hillsborough County Medical Examiner's Office conducted an autopsy of the mother. The cause of death was determined as a homicidal violence, including blunt impact to the head and a shotgun wounds to the torso and extremity. And the manner of death was listed as homicide, assaulted by another person. Dr. Mainland with the Hillsborough County Medical Examiner's Office conducted an autopsy of Renevia. The cause of death was determined as homicidal violence, including chop, blade, and penetrating wounds, and the manner of death was listed as a homicide, assaulted by another person. The autopsy final diagnosis reflects as follows. Let me get a little sip of water. There's supposed to be some people coming by today too. So penetrating, chop, and blade wound to head, neck, torso, and foot. Fractures of cervical vertebrae, transection of cervical spinal cord, perforation of, I forget how that's pronounced, larynx, I'm not sure how that's pronounced, I forgot. Fracture of mandible, subdural and subarachnoid hemorrhage. They're going to get me after. Cerebral contusion and traumatic axonal injury. Thermal burn injuries, full thickness burns to body surface area. Bronchial asthma with focal bronchopneumonia. History of prematurity, 28 weeks, 750 to 999 grams, with complications including grade 3 intraventricular. Oh Lord, they're gonna kill me. Are you guys killing me in the chat? Horrible shit, right? You could just summarize this with horrible shit. Hemorrhage, developmental delay, cerebellar hypalgia, and autism. A whole bunch of crap. Intraventricular. There you go. I think I got it right there. Paraplegia. There we go. Bunch of stuff. And based on interviews and evidence gathered during the course of the investigation, the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office Child Protective Investigations Division closed their investigations on August 1st, 2019 with the following findings. So this is from 2019. Death, burns, internal injuries, physical injury, household violence, threatens child, intimate partner violence, burns, internal injuries, physical injury, household violence, threatens child, intimate partner violence. The surviving sibling was examined by the child protection team. Records reflect the child sustained multiple stab wounds to his neck, abdomen, chest, and extremities, and he suffered burns on 30% of his body. The child protection team opined that the injuries that the boy sustained were consistent with the physical abuse based on the totality of the situation. The boy was removed from the father, and the termination of parental rights petition was filed. The father's parental rights were subsequently terminated in December 2018, received medical, mental health, and other necessary support services while under protective service supervision. Mr. O'Neal has a younger child from a previous relationship. His custody was not modified regarding the younger child. However, the child continues to reside with his biological mother, and he has no contact with Mr. O'Neal. And that's that. Sorry for the mumbo jumbo. So let's start with this then. Let's start now. Well, not really start, but let's get into the opening statements. I also have the file that I downloaded. Maybe I don't know if I should play the downloaded file. Let me see. Let's see something. No. Oh, that's only playing out of one ear. Let's do this. Nope. So here's what I'm going to do. The audio is only playing out of one ear. I'm going to modify the audio right now. Give me 1 second so we can hear it out of both ears. I should have checked this before the stream. For some reason, their audio's never right. It's the mono. All right. Okay. Seconds. Hold on. Let me get this fixed here. Extract. Okay. Give me 1 second. I got this thing working over here. That was gonna take too long. I'm getting the audio fixed right now. It's gonna take like 2 minutes. I'd rather us be able to hear it properly, especially if you're wearing headphones like me. This is what I'll do. What do I have? Okay, I have the little, while we wait for this to render, I'm going to play the little preview and then we'll watch the entire thing. All right. Doing this on the go, on the fly.
The evidence is going to show.
This is the first impression jurors received of Ronnie O'Neal, the Riverview man charged in a gruesome rampage that killed his girlfriend, his young daughter, and nearly killed his 8-year-old son. O'Neal, representing himself, shouted at the jury during his opening statement.
And the evidence is going to show that law enforcement tampered with evidence.
But the state says evidence is indisputable, that the only person responsible for the violent attack on his family is Ronnie O'Neal. And it starts with a 911 call from Kenyatta Barron, O'Neal's girlfriend.
She made that call with fear in her voice.
Kenyatta can be heard pleading for her life. Prosecutors say by then she'd already been shot. And while the recording continued, they say O'Neal can be heard beating her with a shotgun.
The evidence will show that that was just the beginning. That's just the beginning of what happened this evening.
Investigators say after killing Kenyatta, O'Neal brutally murdered his 9-year-old
Almost
daughter,
done.
Olivia, and tried to stab to death his 8-year-old son, also named Ronnie, before setting him and the house on fire.
And it's just the beginning of what became an odyssey for this little boy. An odyssey of violence, an odyssey of brutality.
The little boy, however, survived the attack, barely.
But the words that came out of this little boy's mouth were not a cry for help. They were not a help me.
Somebody said it was staged. How was it staged? Yeah, by the way, I appreciate you guys' patience. 75% done, almost done. So we can get the better audio. Watch it be messed up. Thanks for waiting. The audio sucks. But Kelly said fake news. How's that fake news? There's 2 people dead. What?
Or a painful cry. They
Oh,
will tell
okay.
you the first words that came out of this little brave boy's mouth. My daddy killed my mommy. The evidence is going to show my son did not see me murder his mom. The evidence is going to show he did not see me shoot his mom.
Isn't that crazy too that they're letting this guy represent himself? Isn't there at a certain point somebody intervenes, be like, yo, maybe he's not mentally capable to represent? I mean, I guess he's doing it though. All right, it's finished. Much better. Me raise the volume for you guys. Perfect. All right, thanks for waiting.
The evidence is going to show that we are under some of the most vicious, lying,
You gotta stay by the microphone, man, so we can hear you. Jesus Christ.
fabricating, fictitious government you ever seen. By the time it's all said and done, you will see who is the mass murderers.
So for the people that have just joined, he fired both of the public defenders that he had. He's fired 2 of them. So he's representing himself.
In Tampa Bay, the state of Florida. You will know why what occurred on March 18, 2018 occurred. And the evidence is going to show that law enforcement tampered with evidence to meet their such high burden of proof. Because originally, it wasn't enough. So we had to tamper with evidence. Since it was such evident already, but we still had to tamper with evidence. The evidence is going to show my son did not see me murder his mom. The evidence is going to show he did not see me shoot his mom. The evidence is going to show my son said many things that are not true. The evidence is going to show that I called 911 during Kenyatta Barron's 911 call. But
Hey,
all of a sudden, it ends up after I called Kenyatta, after Kenyatta Barron's call was made. Now I'm calling 911. But originally, I called 911 without even knowing she called 911 during her call. But the evidence is going to show that your representatives and law enforcement, local law enforcement, wanted to make it seem like I'm some kind of menace to society. And I ran after killing Kenyatta Barron, knowing that authority was on the way to kill my own children. I wonder why I would do something like that for no reason. And I'm standing here competent as can be, representing myself today. The evidence is going to show my son did not witness me viciously beat his mom to death. The evidence is going to show The evidence is going to show that law enforcement and this administration wanted to make me look like a menace to society. So they added several mini strikes on that video and audio that you just heard. And they added several statements that I did not say. Anything that I may have said, they exacerbated it and made me say it consecutively over and over like Allahu Akbar, which I may have said once.
May have said once.
Or twice.
Or twice, okay.
But they wanted to make me seem like a terrorist. And so you hear it 8 or 9 times, and you hear me calling Kenyatta Barron.
Just a quick tidbit. Supposedly, so there's a court thing today, which I don't know how we can see it. Maybe they're going to release it later. But right now, they say he's questioning the officer that arrived on scene. Imagine this guy questioning the officer. This guy's literally representing himself. That's crazy, man.
A bitch and a whore. The evidence is going to show that I called my dad after calling 911. But that call is all of a sudden missing from the T-Mobile records that we have acquired from T-Mobile. The 911 call that I made to 911 and the 911 call that you just heard cannot be proven that it was made, because after I called for an investigation of those 911 calls, all of a sudden they become missing from all evidence. The evidence is going to show Kenyatta Barron supposedly made a 911 call, but you cannot find that on her call log, which we pulled from her actual phone. They say she made a call at 11:43. There's no 911 call at 11:43 on her call log. All of a sudden, after I called for an investigation of the original calls. That's what the evidence is going to show. The evidence is going to show I look alone.
Huh?
But I am backed by a mighty God. The evidence is going to show I love my children. And the evidence is going to prove to you that this whole entire case has been tampered with and fabricated before it's all said and done. I can guarantee you that. Mark my words. The evidence is going to show that they say, I said, come out here, son, and help me kill this bitch. But my neighbor, Khalil Brown, nor my neighbor, Mona Lisa Brothers Gray, or any of her children Mia Thompson or Gracie Diggs or Mr. Gray heard me say any of those things. In fact, the evidence is going to show that Khalil Brown heard me say she killed me twice and then nothing else. The CRA is going to show, for some of you who don't know what that is, that's the criminal report affidavit.
Yeah.
That the law enforcement lead detective Thomas Dirks is the author of. The evidence will show that in that CRA, I told the neighbor, don't come outside, call 911 now. But you don't hear that on this audio for some reason. But you hear all these other things that I did not say.
He probably loves this, huh? He's gotta love this.
That same CRA will have the statements of Khalil Brown saying that he saw me take 3 strikes with that shotgun and nothing else. The evidence is going to show that Mr. Harmon here says that that big chunk missing out of her arm was a bird shot. It was not a bird shot. And whatever kind of shot it was, if it was a slug shot or a bird shot, where's the missing pieces of her arm?
The heck?
The evidence is going to show you will not see any missing pieces of her arm in that closet where she was shot. You should see some evidence of.
Why is it pausing? What the hell just happened?
You should see some evidence of.
What happened? Let's see. Where are we at? The 12-minute mark? 12:50. Let me see something. Did they do that on purpose? Let me check the original video. 12:50. Well, yeah. There's glitches or something. Yeah, it's in the original video too. Wonder what happened.
Shots, but there were several shots added to the wall to make it look like I aimed at her head.
Yeah, I have no idea what this guy's talking about. Where's the missing pieces of her arm, I guess, after being shot? It's just I don't know.
That's what the evidence is going to show. Remember, I told you the evidence will not show you that my son witnessed me beat his mom to death, nor did he witness me shoot his mom. In fact, he didn't witness much at all. And the evidence will show that my son said my dad shot my mom is the correct statement if you want to cite statements, if he even said it. Because I can guarantee you The evidence is going to show you we are under the most corrupt administration you've ever seen in your life. I guarantee you I wouldn't waste your time. I would have already took a plea deal of some kind if I knew I did something like this. Because most people don't even go to trial when they know they've killed somebody unjustly. The evidence is going to show you who the killers are.
This is real quick. Bieber said, "Oh my goodness, off topic, but I totally got a message from my son's sister and is in the hospital for inflammation around her heart from the COVID vaccine. She's 16 years old." We talked about that just really quick off topic. First of all, I hope that your sister's son recovers. This is something that's going on too. We spoke about this briefly. They're getting the vaccine for younger and younger kids and all these approval stuff. And for some reason, in the younger, I think it's males mostly, they're having inflammation around the heart and stuff like that. I spoke about that recently too. I'm not sure why they're pushing it for such young ages, but we'll continue with this. And by the way, for the people that just joined at the beginning of this, we read the fatality report that had a lot of information, and so you might have to rewind back to the beginning. We briefly went over the story. If you haven't heard of this, I just heard about this yesterday. I had never heard of this story. This happened in 2018, double homicide. He's representing himself. There's this court document too that's kind of long. Maybe after the video we'll read it. This is when his motion, what was he doing? Oh, he was trying to have a motion to dismiss the indictment, but I guess they denied it. But there's a bit of information on here too that's kind of interesting. It's a couple of pages long. It's like 4 pages, 5 pages. We might read some of that at the end of the video. And this video that we're watching now is from yesterday. So he's in court today, but there has been no video released yet. I'm thinking later today they're probably going to release something maybe that we can see inside of court. So depending on what I'm doing, because I got to go pick up Maddie later, we'll watch it again later today if I have time, if possible. Where did you get the copy of the fatality report? Flossie sent it to me. I don't know where she got it from, but Flossie sent it to me. So yeah, let's continue. Look at the judge. The judge is kind of like, the heck?
I'm pleading not guilty to the charges of premeditated murder, attempted murder, aggravated child abuse or battery, arson, resisting arrest without violence. And while I'm at that, the evidence is going to show that they tased me for no reason. But they tampered with that video because they didn't want you to know the truth. And it might sound far-fetched, but I guarantee you, we're going to see who the liars are before it's all said and done. Mark my words. Because my family lives were taken.
Excuse me.
When my daughter was done, this is what the evidence will show. When my daughter was born, it was me who gave the command, the final command to keep her alive when she was on life support. When she was born, 2 pounds, 2 ounces.
Oh, they did say that. We oh crap. No.
Who
Let's
the
skip forward.
liars are, a premeditated murder,
Here we go, my bad.
attempted murder, aggravated child abuse or battery, arson, resisting arrest.
We did read that too in the fatality report about the 2 pounds. The daughter is autistic, nonverbal. And she was born I think premature. Yeah, I did say that. History of prematurity, 28 weeks. The complications, yeah. Autism, paraplegia, developmental delay.
Without violence. And while I'm at that, the evidence is going to show that they tased me
Let's skip
for
ahead.
no reason. But they tampered with that video.
Hold on a second.
I guarantee you I wouldn't waste your time.
How
Because
far?
I can guarantee you, and the evidence will show that my son said my dad shot my mom. Is the correct statement.
Wait, how far did I
It
skip?
looked like
How bad?
I aimed at the pieces of her arm in that closet where
we
she
saw
was
that already.
shot. You should see some evidence of.
I lost my timestamp. I'm sorry. But where's the 2 pounds?
That's what the evidence is going to show. It will not show you that my son witnessed me beat his mom to death, nor did he witness me shoot his mom.
Welcome, Bronson John.
In fact, he didn't witness much at all. And the evidence will show that my son said my dad shot my mom. Is the correct statement. If you want to cite statements, if he even said it. Because I can guarantee you, the evidence is going to show you we are under the most corrupt administration you've ever seen in your
Yeah, we'll
life.
listen to this. He knows what to say too. No,
I
it's
guarantee you I wouldn't waste your time. I would have already took a plea deal of some kind if I knew I did something like this. Because most people don't even go to trial when they know they killed somebody unjustly. The evidence is going to show you who the killers are.
oh my god. Somebody. Oh yeah, this is where we left off, kind of like a little bit further ahead. So yeah, there is, to my knowledge, there's no live stream of this. This is from yesterday. Today, when I checked, they were in court, but I don't see any live streams.
Not guilty to the charges of premeditated murder, attempted murder, aggravated child abuse or battery, arson.
And he's putting on a big time performance too. Walking away and putting this whole thing going on. I mean, it's horrific, the details of what was done to that woman and these kids. The son was almost killed too.
Resisting arrest without violence. And while I'm at that,
The side
the evidence is going to show that they tased me for no reason. But they tampered with that video because they didn't want you to know the truth. And it might sound far-fetched, but I guarantee you, we're going to see who the liars are before it's all said and done. Mark my words. Because my family lives were taken. When my daughter was done, this is what the evidence will show. When my daughter was born,
This is where we're at.
it was me who gave the command to find the final command to keep her alive when she was on life support. When she was born, 2 pounds, 2 ounces, and couldn't breathe on her own. It was me who fought to keep her alive. But all of a sudden, I just want to take her life for no reason. I'm asserting justifiable homicide because I acted in self-defense and moved to protect myself and my children from Kenyatta Barron. I'm going to be showing with evidence several reasonable reasons to doubt the state's allegations against me. The evidence will show that the state cannot prove that I premeditatedly killed anyone because I didn't have any time to reflect or plot and plan as if everything happened suddenly and spontaneously. I responded out of pure instinct and heat of passion. Eliminating any kind of premeditated design.
So he's trying to take out premeditation.
Let me just say, the evidence will show that since the state plans to kill me, if they can say that I killed my family unjustly, they plan to premeditatedly kill me.
Oh!
So they cannot say or deny me the right to premeditatedly kill Kenyatta Barron if she killed my children. The evidence will show that Kenyatta Barron had several medications and drugs such as morphine in her system. The evidence will show she had a domestic history and was arrested for domestic violence that same year. She also was born premature, just like Trinivia.
Judge, I'd object at this point.
I'm going to sustain the objection as to that particular argument regarding Miss Barron being born prematurely. All right? You may continue on, Mr. O'Neal.
Yeah, he's looking through his notes and everything. Yeah.
I didn't even state the basis of his objection.
I've ruled, Mr. O'Neal, okay?
I understand, but I have to state the basis of my objections, right?
Well, that is correct, and I just assume what the objection is. So go ahead and state it for the record, Mr. Harmon.
Proper argument.
That's sustained.
Wow, he's checking the lawyer too. I don't know. I like. Listen, I just came across this story last night. Literally, this happened in 2018. I never heard of this story until last night, And then I heard about this opening thing that was going on. And it's pretty crazy, pretty insane, but it looks like he somewhat at least knows what he's talking about as far as, or the legality. You know what I'm saying? He's checking the damn lawyer. The heck? I mean, I think he's off. I think he's cuckoo, in my opinion, just personal opinion. But he's within his mental capacity where he's standing there. I mean, I don't think he should be screaming. It would be great if he would stand by the microphone so we could hear him clearly. But I've seen attorneys too kind of move around and do all this kind of stuff. Gracie said he's focusing on premeditation, so they'll lower it to second-degree manslaughter. Yeah, he's trying to remove premeditation. I'm gonna, at the end of this video, which is almost done, I'm gonna read this thing that happened. This court document is from. It's a lot to read, so you're gonna have to bear with me because you know my reading is. I thought I did pretty good today, besides all the technical stuff. But this court document, I think, what's the date on this? December 2020. Okay, so I think this is a good document too to look at. Maybe we'll deep dive on this. I don't know. We'll see. And I'm curious to see what happened today in court, if we can. It's not out yet. I've been checking while we're streaming. So far, nothing's out yet. So.
His objection.
I've ruled, Mr. O'Neal, okay?
I understand, but I have to state the basis of my objections, right?
Well, that is correct, and I just assume what the objection is. So go ahead and state it for the record, Mr. Harmon.
Proper argument.
That's sustained.
Get your shit right.
The evidence will show that she threatened to kill me with a knife just a few weeks before the incident, and she was angry about my relationship with my other child's mom, and about the fact that we had to be cordial for our newborn son. And the evidence will show that they had been going back and forth and arguing on Facebook and by telephone that whole afternoon before the incident. The evidence will show that me and my son was at my mom's house while I was putting brakes on my aunt's car.
Sunny D says that Ronnie has a nice voice. I'm just kidding. I think she's talking about me. Green LLC. I don't know. What do you guys think about this? I don't know. Green said, I believe it's a conflict of interest that the cop whom is working the case. Is he really working the case? I know that there is a cop. I read it somewhere. Flossie sent it to me, that adopted the son, the child, or the Hillsborough County. One of the deputies adopted the son. And it is interesting that the son is gonna. I don't know if it's today. I thought it was supposed to happen today, that the son is gonna testify against the father. Is that a conflict of interest? Is that problematic? That's kind of interesting too. Listen, the cop is no longer on the case, Shonda said. Okay. So we're going to have to double check that information and see.
Me and my son spent the whole day at my mom and dad's house working on the car.
Okay. Hey.
When we came back home, I never knew she was arguing with my child's mom, my other child's mom, the whole day. That's what the evidence will show.
I'm really curious. I hope that we can watch this. I don't know if we'll make it a daily thing. If they keep updating things, because it did stay in one of the reports that we read that he has a child from another mother. And so now he's stating that this woman, the child from the other mother, was arguing with the woman as deceased. And I'm not taking sides. Trust me, I'm not taking a side at all. But I'm just putting out the information so we can try to go through it together, hopefully.
Evidence will show that my daughter was prematurely born. She was autistic. My son Ronnie was diagnosed at the age of 3 with developmental delay and
Really?
had the history of SLD. The evidence will also show that he was present but does not remember accurately or consistently what happened for many reasons, making him unreliable when it comes to the actual facts. He also has been diagnosed with PTSD, as he should be, because this is a very traumatic thing that he went through. He also was diagnosed with major depression disorder, intermittent confusion, and delirium. The evidence is going to show, the evidence and testimony will show that Ronnie Blair, formerly known as Ronnie O'Neal IV, may have been coached on what to say by family members
Objection to argument.
and or law
Hold on. I will overrule the objection.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. O'Neal, again, jury, this is what both sides believe the evidence is going to show, all right? And again, you will be the ultimate determiner of what the facts are. You may proceed, Mr. O'Neal.
Thank you, Your Honor. And these are also actual facts that Mr. Harmon left out when he told you about the report of his former psychologist. When he told you that he was adopted by his family members, which didn't work out as well, and he had to be placed with another family, which is now the Blair family. In that same report, it talked about how he may have been coached by family members. The evidence is going to show that my son was adopted by a detective who formerly worked in this case.
So that is true.
Whom he now lives with. And I don't have a problem with that because he needs care. But I do have a problem with Mr. Blair being involved in this case, being called as a witness, being the new father of my son, and now he's being called as a witness when he could possibly have been coached by his new father,
Objection.
who is
Speculation
law
and
enforcement.
proper argument.
All right, and again, Mr. O'Neal, overrule the objection. Again, this is what Mr. O'Neal is asserting the facts will be. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. The evidence will show and prove that very vital evidence was definitely tampered with, which was a strategic omission to cover up the facts of this case, making much more of the evidence unreliable. As I know for a fact, it was altered as well. The evidence is going to show that the 911 call of Kenyatta Barron is not compatible with what Khalil Brown saw and heard outside of my home. The evidence is going to show, when it's all said and done, who put those excessive lacerations on Kenyatta Barron's face. I can guarantee you that.
Judge is just looking like it, the look on her face.
In this trial or the next one, I can guarantee you that. Because like I said, I look alone, but I'm backed by a mighty God.
Oh, Jesus.
And ultimately, it will show that none of the state's witnesses can draw any conclusions, especially because they didn't see anything that refutes my self-defense claim and theory. And nor can the state do so beyond their very reasonable doubts that will be revealed. The very reasonable doubts that will be revealed by me. And that's all I have to say.
Wow. I really, man, you don't know how much I've been searching right now to see if there's any updates. Because that video was from yesterday. I guess they're not playing this, like the video live. So I'm thinking maybe later today we can see hopefully some sort of update. I'm gonna read this court document from December, and I'm also, what I was thinking we could do is there's a lady that's in there right now posting updates on Twitter. Heather. So they called the lunch break right now. Let me put it on the screen for you guys, and then we'll get to the court document. I want to see how this is going to play out. It's just opening statements. It's going to be interesting to see how he holds up, going back and forth and speaking of witnesses and stuff like that. While I do think he's crazy, I was kind of surprised how he somewhat held himself in court, though. He's literally checking the notes, and he even checked the lawyer. I was like, what? He checked the lawyer. The judge was like, yes, that's true. That's true. You aren't supposed to do that. I was like, what? So, okay. So the judge, this was 20 minutes ago. The judges called the lunch break. Foster described the little girl's body as being beyond recognizable once he got her out of the house. He then told the jury that he hugged the other firefighter and began to cry. He says he eventually had to leave the scene because he was so emotional. Oh, okay, so this is the firefighter. Donald Foster, a firefighter with the Hills Company Fire Rescue, says he entered the home and he was slipping on the ground. Says he realized it was blood. He also noticed several knives on the floor. And he says it looked like someone had poured out a knife drawer on the ground. Also, like maybe like they pulled it out. Man, I want to see this, yo. This has got to be crazy. I can't imagine this guy cross-examining people. Can you imagine this guy cross-examining? Oh, and by the way, for the people that were wondering the ages too, real quick, this document we read at the beginning. Can I fix it a little bit? A little bit. So this is at the time, March 19, 2018. So the 9-year-old, she was not the 9-year-old Raniva, which is the daughter. She's autistic with nonverbal. She was 9 at the time. The surviving boy, he was 8 at the time. The mother's deceased, 33 years old. Ronnie, he's 29 years old. And we went over this report earlier. It's pretty graphic. We're gonna get into the new, well, not really new, but the 2020 court document. O'Neal made a point in his opening statement Monday that his son did not say that at all, but right after the state questioned Vetti, O'Neal did not question her at all. Veronica Vetti is a paramedic who showed up at the scene, remembers the little boy saying something like, "My dad killed my mom." O'Neal asked the captain where the wounds on his son were. He says they took the boy in the truck. They left the scene but stopped at a nearby soccer field to see if his co-workers needed any help as they attempted to save the little boy's life. When they jumped out, they ran to the boy first. Captain Sanders says he had second and third degree burns all over his body. His stomach had deep stab wounds. So she's kind of like taking step by step. Follow along live tweeting from the trial. Here's our story from yesterday. So today, Ronnie's back in court and he's questioning the deputy that arrived on scene. Hopefully later, I'll keep you guys posted. We'll see if we can come back. Oh, you guys can't even really see it. My bad. Hopefully we can come back later and actually see some of the trial. This is another post she did. Oh, this was from yesterday. The state has called a neighbor who grabbed his camera and started recording the moment. The state says O'Neal came outside. They showed the jury the video. So, I guess what I'll do is I'll read this document. For the people that are just joining, you might have to rewind if you missed the fatality report or the video. Let's see, I think this is good, right? And I'm going to do my best to read this. This is from 2020 and December 2020. The state of Florida versus Ronnie O'Neal. And the defendant's amended motion to dismiss count 1 of the indictment based upon statutory immunity pursuant. This was filed October 28, 2020. The court held an evidentiary hearing on the defendant's motion on December 3rd, 2020. After reviewing the motion and the testimony and the evidence presented at the evidentiary hearing, the court filed and the record, the court finds as follows. In defendant amended motion to dismiss count blah 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 blah. Defendant requests that the court to enter an order declaring him immune from criminal prosecution regarding count 1 in this cause because his actions were necessary to prevent imminent death or great bodily harm to himself and or his children, and they were necessary to prevent Kenyatta, which is the mother of the kids, from committing forcible felony, aggravated battery, felony battery, attempted murder against him or his children. He's claiming that he did this in self-defense, okay? For the people that have just joined, he's claiming that he was protecting his kids, which I think is kind of BS. I almost call it like the Chris Watts thing, where Chris Watts was saying, supposedly, and I've never dived deep into Chris Watts. I was just on the surface. There's people that dive deep into that, and they're still talking about it today. But no, he was stating supposedly that he was defending his kids. The mother was trying to kill the kids or something like that. So, where do we leave off at? A minute. Okay. The defendant alleges that the circumstances leading to the death of Kenyatta Barron on March 18, 2018 occurred after she attacked Mr. O'Neal in the home they were both living in at the time. At a hearing on December 3rd, 2020, the state stipulated that the defendant had alleged a prima facie claim of self-defense in his motion, and as such, the burden has shifted to the state to establish a clear and convincing evidence that the defendant is not entitled to immunity pursuant of the Florida statute. So he's trying to claim self-defense, pretty much. On December 3rd, 2020, the court heard witness testimony from James Gray Jr., Thomas Dirks, and Dr. Mary Mainland, who also admitted into evidence were 2 separate 911 calls and numerous autopsy photos. Florida statute section prescribes that a person is justified in using deadly force if he or she is reasonably believes that using such force is necessary to prevent imminent death or great bodily harm to himself or herself or another, which, by the way, in Florida, you can use self-defense in your vehicle too, as if it was your own home, if your life is in danger. So a prima facie claim of self-defense immunity has been raised by the defendant at a pretrial immunity hearing. The burden of proof by clear and convincing evidence is on the party seeking to overcome the immunity. Clear and convincing evidence is evidence that is precise, explicit, lacking in confusion, and such weight that it produces a firm belief without hesitation about the matter of the issue. After reviewing the testimony and evidence presented on December 3rd, 2020 hearing, the court finds that the state has met its burden of proving by clear and convincing evidence that the defendant is not entitled to immunity under the section, yada yada. Specifically, the court finds that the state met its burden through credible testimony, which I'm just taking you through the motions, but the testimony is interesting. It was going to take you through some of the details of supposedly what happened that day. Mr. Gray testified that his then fiance, now wife, lived next door to the defendant and asked Miss Kenyatta, and Miss Kenyatta Barron. Okay, so this guy's wife lived next door to these people, to Oneal, the father, Ronnie, and his girlfriend at the time. Shonda, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. Thanks for bringing this story. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. This is a crazy ass story. I came across this last night, and then I sent it to Flossie, and I was like, let's talk about something different, something maybe nobody has heard of, really. I mean, I've never heard of it, just to mix things up a little bit. And so Mr. Gray was visiting on the night of the incident, and he testified that evening he heard loud screaming and loud banging on his fiance's front door. Mr. Gray initially opened the door to see what was going on outside, but told his fiancée and her daughter to stay inside the home and call 911. Mr. Gray testified that when he stepped outside, he could see two silhouettes at the end of a 6 to 8 foot long foyer, along with blood splatter along the foyer's walls. One person was a black female on the ground, face down, and standing over her was a black male holding on to the black female's left arm. The black male was also holding an item in his right hand, but Mr. Gray could not determine what that was. The black female was completely unresponsive, while the black male began shouting, "You don't understand." Mr. Gray testified that he was attempting to get the black male to back away. At this time, Mr. Gray recognized that the black male as a defendant. At this time, Mr. Gray recognized the black male as a defendant and the black female as Kenyatta Barron, as he had seen both of these individuals previously and recognized them as neighbors of his fiancée. Mr. Gray testified that the defendant continued to yell, "Allah Akbar!" and "You don't understand, she killed me." The defendant then dropped Miss Barron's arm and retreated back into his own residence. Mr. Gray testified that Miss Barron never regained any signs of consciousness during the entire episode and remained outside with her body until law enforcement arrived. Additionally, introduced into evidence at the hearing was State's Exhibit 1, which was the 911 call made by Kenyatta Barron at 11:43 p.m. on the night of the incident. I would like to hear that 911 call, but I haven't been able to find it, and I'm sure it's pretty graphic and explicit, so we may never hear it. I'm not sure. On the 911 call, Miss Barron is heard screaming, "I'm shot, help please, help me please," and tearfully repeating over and over, "I'm so sorry." At the point on the 911 call, you can no longer hear the voice of Miss Barron. At approximately 11:47 p.m., the voice of James Gary is heard on the 911 call, telling his fiancée to stay inside the house and call 911. So I guess they can hear him telling his wife to call 911, get inside. The state next called Thomas Dirks with the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. On the incident date, Mr. Dirks was with an HCSO, Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, detective in the Homicide Division. Mr. Dirks testified that he arrived at the crime scene on the night of the offense and observed the victim's body on the ground covered by a sheet. Miss Barron was partially clothed in a tank top, underwear, and socks. She had a gunshot wound to her arm and trauma to her face and upper body. Mr. Dirks also discovered numerous pieces of a shotgun in the general area of the victim, including the barrel, wooden stock, and other miscellaneous mechanical pieces of a shotgun. Mr. Dirks testified that the shotgun had either been broken apart or disassembled. The state next introduced the 911 call made by the defendant at 11:49 p.m. on March 18, 2018. So let me see. At 11:49, Ronnie supposedly makes the call. And at 11:43, Kenyatta made the call. It would be so interesting to hear those 911 calls because I just kind of want to know this guy Ronnie's tone when he called. Like, is he calling to try to cover himself, to set an alibi? The guy, in my opinion, seems crazy, but he also seems very cognizant, like very aware of what he's doing. I don't know. Okay, so Ronnie, he makes a call at 11:49 p.m., March 18, 2018, as the state Exhibit 2. This 911 call was made approximately 6 minutes after the 911 call made by Kenyatta. In the defendant's 911 call, he can be heard stating, "I just been attacked. Keke tried to kill me," which is Kenyatta. That's her nickname, Keke. The state's final witness was Dr. Mary Mainland, a medical examiner for the Hillsborough County. Dr. Mainland arrived at the crime scene on the evening of March 18, 2018, and later performed an autopsy on Kenyatta at the medical examiner's office. Dr. Mainland testified that Miss Barron suffered a gunshot wound to her right back shoulder and another much larger gunshot wound to her right elbow, where actual pellets from the shotgun were recovered. Dr. Mainland stated that Miss Barron's right arm was broken in 2 separate places, but that the wounds would probably not have been lethal by themselves. Dr. Mainland also testified that Miss Barron suffered from numerous injuries to her head, including over 15 separate lacerations to her head, numerous abrasions and contusions on mainly the left side of Mrs. Barron's head. 6 to 7 fractures of her skull, including a fractured jaw, a fractured facial bones behind Miss Barron's lips, and several fractures at the base of Miss Barron's skull. Holy crap. Several of Miss Barron's teeth were also missing. Jesus Christ. Miss Barron died from brain hemorrhaging as a result from blunt force trauma. I warned you guys. I think this one's a little bit more graphic than the fatality report that we read earlier in the stream. Angel said it's a common misconception. Many crazy people are aware, but just think differently. The guy, I mean, if you sit and watch, because I noticed too, before we get back into this, the guy, like, sure, he's kind of loud, he's kind of yelling, he seems a little bit off his rocker. He has his hair that's kind of crazy too, a little bit. I'm saying a little bit, but kind of a lot, especially to go to court like that. But they show that what's trending and what's viral and what's getting the most views is the little clips of him, the 2-minute, 3-minute clips. The longer 30-minute video, nobody cares about the longer stuff. People just want to highlight, right? And so if you sit and watch, and maybe this could be a good thing. Maybe he'll screw up. Maybe he'll bury himself. A lot of times too with these people, just let him talk. Just let him talk. And then you can go back and get all the contradictions itself. But he knows what he's doing. I mean, like I said earlier, he challenged the attorney, and the judge stood by this guy, what he was saying. I mean, as far as when he was, I can't remember the word, when he was trying to object, you know, she stood by Oneal, and she made some clarifications. But I'm really, really curious about cross-examination. How's that going to happen? I hope we can see that. I knew the hair thing, people were going to be like, oh my God, no. It looks crazy. The guy looks crazy. But if you can see past that a little bit too, he knows what he's doing. You can't deny that. The guy looks crazy. You're not going to tell me that the guy doesn't look crazy. He kind of looks crazy to me. What? State your grounds for objection. Thank you, Carolina. Yeah. And the judge was like, yeah, no, you're right. Go ahead and state your ground for the objection. And he was waiting. I'm like, damn. This dude is something else. I guess he's putting on a performance. I don't know. Local news says that they will have more on today's trial at 5 p.m. Eastern. Okay. Yeah, we'll see then if we can come back later, because I'm curious to see what happened. Hopefully something in long format. Supposedly he does. I read something, but it wasn't. I'll have to look again. I had it here. Somebody asked about his criminal history. This article from 2018. I have to look something more recent. It stated something about his. It says the father of 3 had a past criminal history, which included charges of marijuana possession and driving without a license, reported by the Tampa Bay Times. They didn't really go in depth, but what Ronnie's claiming, this is a picture of the front of the house. Ronnie's claiming that she has some sort of history too. I'll come back to this after. Yeah, I'm not sure about his in-depth history. Last October, a judge found that O'Neal was delinquent in child support payments to Barron and ordered him to pay $1,700 that was due, records show. It says here O'Neal had been arrested 3 times before in Florida on charges of obtaining food or lodging with intent to defraud, marijuana possession, which is kind of like whatever these days now, and driving without a valid license. State records show he was last arrested in Hillsborough County 2009. In 2012, a Hillsborough judge ruling on a paternity, make it a little bit bigger for you guys, paternity petition filed by Barron found that Ronnie O'Neal was O'Neal's biological son and ordered the elder O'Neal to pay a monthly child support for the boy and another child, court records show. So it looks like they were having all this court stuff going on. And mom and dad were having issues, and she had him on child support, I guess. They were not married. Ballard, one of O'Neal's friends, said that they first met about 7 years ago. Ballard's mother lives across the street, and that the 2 men recently reconnected after Ballard returned from Miami and moved in with his mother. O'Neal is a devout Muslim who played with his kids and never gave any indication that he was capable of violence, Ballard said. He worked odd jobs and had a passion for hip-hop music, setting up a makeshift recording studio in the garage. There's nothing bad to say about him. He was a good guy. He's amazing. He always told me he had demons. Oh, well, that's kind of something, too, that you might want to not leave out. Ballard said O'Neal did talk about troubles in a general way. He always told me he had demons. But I never thought it was like that. I don't know what would make him do anything like that. Hey, what's up, Tommy? Hey, what's up? Oh, just dealing with my demons. Oh, that's cool, bro. Yeah, just demons. But people do use that term sometimes kind of like randomly. Like, oh, yeah, man. Well, do people say that casually? Yeah, I got my demons I'm dealing with today. Do people say that? Is that like a casual thing people say? I don't know, because the world is so crazy now. I mean, we've talked about it on several of the videos. Maybe that's a casual thing people are saying. Like, dealing with my demons today. Man. Girl, these demons trying to get me. I don't know. Is that a thing? I don't know. I don't know what the kids are talking about. So let me... One more page left. We're almost done with this document. As stated, the court records find the testimony of Mr. Gray to be credible. The evidence establishes that Miss Barron was still alive at 11:43 p.m. on the night in question when she placed the 911 call begging for help because she had been shot. The evidence establishes that approximately 4.5 minutes after Miss Barron calls 911, she is no longer conscious. So they're saying it's believed that the shotgun wasn't enough to kill her, and then she placed the 911 call, and 4.5 minutes after Miss Barron calls 911, she is no longer conscious, and maybe that's where all the blunt force head trauma comes in, all the lacerations and stuff. Maybe. Oh no, it can't be though, can it? She's no longer conscious as Mr. Gray can be heard calling his fiance, because wasn't he standing there? I'm not too sure of the timeline of when the lacerations happen, or if they even know. I guess Mr. Gray would know. He'd be able to see that. I mean, it could be that she called 911 and ran outside and fell on the floor maybe, and then this guy sees it going on, and then he calls and he's standing by her or something. I don't know. Maybe he was never standing by her. Let me not talk myself. You see, the more you talk, the more you can put yourself into a hole. And Mr. Gray credibly testified that he never saw the victim move at all from the time he observed her that night. So he hears all this commotion. He comes outside, and I believe what we just read is that she was on the floor when he saw her outside, and the guy was standing over her. And I guess he went back inside because it said he retreated back into the home. This is clear and convincing evidence before the court that Miss Barron was beaten to death by the defendant, presumably by the shotgun. Presumably by the shotgun found broken in pieces, that makes sense, by Mr. Dirks during the intervening 4.5 minutes, wow, from Miss Barron's initial 911 call to the time Mr. Gray stepped out of his home to see what was happening. Okay. Other than the defendant's self-serving hearsay statement to law enforcement in his 911 call, which I would love to hear that, there's no other evidence to support that the defendant was in imminent fear of death or great bodily harm to himself or his children. And I wonder too, did he have any marks? I'm sure they probably checked it out. He's claiming that he was under attack. He was doing it in self-defense. Did he have any marks on his body? Everybody else was almost killed. Well, killed and almost killed. The mother's dead. The daughter's dead. The son barely made it out alive. And what? This guy has no scratches? This doesn't make any sense. And then there's fire and there's smoke and gas and all this kind of stuff. I'm going to probably do the fatality report one more time before we head out. Just not the whole thing, but just a brief description. The assertions made in the defendant's 911 call lack credibility, as the call was made after Miss Barron was deceased. And after Mr. Gray, who knows the defendant, could identify him. So the defendant holding on to the lifeless body of Miss Barron. Consequently, the court finds that the state sufficiently proved defendant was not in danger of imminent death or great bodily harm during the incident that occurred on the evening of March 18, 2018, that immediately preceded the death of Miss Barron. Consequently, the court finds that the defendant is not entitled to relief. They denied his self-defense claim or whatever, his motion for that, to dismiss it. So that was that. The fatality report, I butchered up one of these things at the bottom. I probably shouldn't even use that terminology, I guess. Huh? I messed up some of this, but this kind of coincides, but this one's from 2018. The report that we just read is from 2020. So this kind of still coincides with the 2020 report. And so the officers responded to the family's home just after midnight, March 19, 2018, due to a call related to a domestic violence. Upon law enforcement's arrival, they discovered that the mother was lying face down on the sidewalk near the home. Hillsborough County Fire Rescue arrived at the scene, which is the guy that I believe is testifying today, one of the people at least. Arrived at the scene and determined that the mother was deceased. When law enforcement initially arrived at the home, there were no lights coming from the residence. However, a short time later, a light was observed coming from the corner of the home. As the light grew brighter, it was determined that it was caused by a fire within the residence, resulting in law enforcement forcing entry into the home. When law enforcement gained access to the home and the main living area, When they gained access to the home, the main living area was engulfed in flames. Law enforcement yelled for anyone in the residence to exit, and that's when the boy that survived comes out. When he comes outside, he was covered in blood and was observed with severe abdominal injury and burns. He was subsequently transferred to the local hospital where he received immediate medical attention. Mr. O'Neal, the father, exits the home. A short time later, he was placed into custody. Renevia, which is the girl that died, who was nonverbal and on the autism spectrum, was discovered in the home with multiple injuries to include burns and stab wounds, and she succumbed to her injuries and was pronounced deceased at the home. March 19, 2018, 12:30 a.m. The child protection team conducted forensic interview with the surviving sibling who witnessed the tragic incident. Documentation reflects that on the night of the incident, Mr. O'Neal continuously yelled, "Allah Akbar, God is great," as he shot the mother with a shotgun, stabbed Renevia with a tomahawk, and stabbed the son with the knife. At some point, Mr. O'Neal used gasoline, tissue, and matches to set the home and Renevia on fire. And that's kind of it. We already read this entire thing, so we don't need to go through it again, I don't think. The surviving sibling was examined by the child protection team. Records reflect that the child sustained multiple stab wounds to his neck, abdomen, chest, extremities, and he suffered burns 30% of his body. I mean, just horrible shit. Horrible shit. Like, how is this self-defense, man? You know, it's just... And then now he's putting on this performance in court. Oh, this says 2019. Date 9/16/2019. Oh, this was the date of death was 2018. Okay. I thought this document was done 2018. So this document's from 2019 and the previous one is from 2020 December. So yeah. Crazy. I'm gonna hang around for a little bit just to see the chat, and then I think we'll call it a stream for now. We'll see if something comes up later. Pretty sure something will come out later. Here's a little clip. Ron O'Neal acting as an attorney stuns journey. I don't think this is... Let's see. What is this?
Morning, Beth.
Good morning to you both, and it was definitely an eventful day one in this trial.
How's
the
day
most
one?
surprising part of it, though, was when Ronnie O'Neal, who's representing himself, actually started yelling at jurors during his opening statements.
By the time it's all said and done, you will see who is the mass murderers.
Seething, Ronnie O'Neal addressed jurors during opening statements in his own double murder trial. Assistant State Attorney Scott Harmon says you can hear O'Neal's girlfriend begging for her life during 911 calls from the pair's Riverview home.
And we didn't get to listen to that, and as far as I know, the 911 calls hasn't been released. Just the FYI.
In March 2018.
I'm so sorry, help me.
Harmon says O'Neal shot her and beat her to death with the gun, then grabbed a hatchet
Jesus
and killed
Christ,
his
look at that.
daughter.
He chopped.
So that makes sense why the shotgun was broken and stuff. He literally beat her with this thing. That's why she had all those lacerations and all that kind of stuff on her head. And then a tomahawk. Jesus Christ. This is like a... So I guess this looks like the actual tomahawk. It's an axe type of thing. You can throw it too. I think it's made for throwing. And it's just like... It's like all rusted and stuff.
Hatchet and killed his daughter.
He chopped with that hatchet.
O'Neal claims the entire case against him is made up.
My son did not witness me viciously beat his mom to death.
It's got to be scary as hell too. So he's gonna... I guess the son's gonna testify? In court, it's supposed to testify against him. That's got to be tough as hell. For a child, scary to relive that too. Let's see if there's anything new. Have they posted anything? No, I don't see anything else. So I guess let me just check out the chat. You guys tell me what you think, man, about this story. And it seems like it stemmed around domestic violence, which is just something... I know this was back in 2018, but this kind of stuff is increasing now more than ever. People are on edge. And people just kill the kids now, like without any kind of regard. People just kill the kids. The son at the time, according to the fatality report, which is matches all the other articles, at the time the son was 8 years old, and the daughter was 9 at the time. So crazy. But the guy's definitely calculated. I mean, from what I see, yeah, he's crazy, like I said earlier, but he seems to know what he's doing in court. I doubt it. There's no way he's gonna pull away from this. I guess maybe he's just trying to avoid the death penalty. I don't know. And he's fired his public defenders. He's got to have some sort of mental health, huh? What do you think? Do you think that? I mean, that's just my opinion. I don't know. He has to have maybe some sort of mental health. A high functioning. I don't know. 2020 in the U.S. alone, more than 500 kids killed by their parents. Jesus, more still missing. Oh, you know what? Real quick, there's a missing person too that I can mention real quick from here in Florida, Naples. I shared the post on Facebook earlier. I'm just kind of following to see what happens with that. I'll just put the face out real quick while we're here. You can go check it out. Her name is Sophia Tresia, if that's how it's said. Okay, let me put it right here. Real quick before we head out. So this, I believe, is the mother, Jeanette, and she posted, I have not wanted to post this, but I need prayers. I need a miracle in my life right now. Sophia went out with a friend Friday night and has not been seen since. Her cell phone was found in the home of her friend's grandmother and not a trace of my Sophia. So she goes out Friday night. Her cell phone was found in the home of her friend's grandmother and not a trace of Sophia. As you know, Sophia doesn't go out often and is with me literally almost 24/7. This is not normal behavior for her. She doesn't drive and has never had a job or relationship. Really? How old is Sophia? Hold on, I forgot. Is she 16 or something? I forgot what they said she was. 17. Okay. I'm a mess. I cannot handle too many questions. I don't want to seem rude, but I'm overwhelmed and I'm trying to survive this. Her friend is uncooperative with police. Damn. The sheriff's department is working this case. The Center for Missing and Exploited Children is making a flyer now. Sophia just finished her junior year at Palmetto Ridge High School. If anyone knows a private investigator, there's plenty, that could help me out of the kindness of their heart, I would be so grateful. As you know, I'm a single mom to these guys. Ask those in Naples to keep an eye out for my Sophia. I do not know if she left on her own accord or if she has met with foul play. Pray hard for us and for her safe return. I'm living a nightmare right now. I have her phone and Apple won't let me break into it. I cannot access anything on it. They need a warrant. Sophia was stressed about school, very stressed. I'm not sure if she ran away. Her friend lied, according to mom. This is not me. According to mom, her friend lied and said that she had not seen Sophia or picked her up. She finally admitted that yes, she got her and that they went into her grandmother's vacant house, but that she will not give any more details about what happened to Sophia. My last conversation with Sophia was at 9:52 p.m. on Friday night as we said goodnight. We called all the USA Airlines and Greyhound, and she has not traveled with any of them. She is probably in the area if she is unharmed. The not knowing is leading us to dead ends. Someone is transporting her if she is here because she doesn't have a car. Oh, she doesn't have a car to drive. Here's some pictures. There is a New York Post. I'll share the New York Post too, because the New York Post says now that they believe that she's crossing, I was going to read the comment, crossing state lines probably. I'm going to read you the New York one, but that's some pictures of her. Just while we're here, just to share the face. All right. Gotta be frustrating too. Imagine your child goes out with a friend and their friend's not allegedly cooperating. Kind of makes me think of that movie that we saw in Discord, The Lie. Is it called The Lie? Anybody ever seen that movie? I wonder if she changed the post. There was a post she made somewhere that let me see. We have been assigned a detective from Collier County. She is going to get a warrant for the phone records. Collier Sheriff is working on a missing person fly right now. I'm humbled by all the shares and messages. I love you all. I thought I saw a post where mom said that she could be anywhere and maybe even in 3 states, but I don't know if she deleted it or what. Let's see. No edit history. I thought I saw it somewhere. I don't know where I saw it, but you guys saw that movie? That was pretty nuts. I was kind of pissed off at the ending. Somebody said, "Why do you swear so much?" I don't know. Do I swear a lot? I didn't think I actually did. I don't know. Hopefully she turns up all right. I wish I knew where that post was at, where she gave an update. Maybe she deleted it. Maybe they told her not to put that information out or something. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. But I guess what matters is her face is out there. So. Oh, you know what pissed me off about the movie The Lie? What pissed me off was the ending, that the parents were just like, "Oh, okay," and they just hugged her. Like, what? Okay, sweet. Like, they first of all, they looked at her and they stared at her. I don't want to spoil the movie if anybody's gonna watch it, but they looked at her and stared at her, and then they gave her a hug. Like, it's all good. Ah, man, I was pissed. I'll get the hell out of here. They should have got rid of her too. Just kidding. Or the friend, or both of them. Somebody sent me something. Ronnie O'Neal. Let's check this out. BL. Oh. Let's check this out too. Oh, I have to be a subscriber to read this. There you go. Oh, they're not letting me watch this unless I read this, unless I subscribe. Damn. I guess I have to sign up. Jesus. There's an article about the son's account of what happened with regards to Ronnie, the father, and the mother. I don't know if it's what we've already read or if it's something different. I'm trying to sign up because there's people now. Yeah, they want all kinds of information. I don't want to give this stuff to you guys. No, I don't want to do that. It's weird. Asking for too much. I don't like that. Okay, I think I can read it over here. Not by me. Oh, somebody, it says BL, 1:18 p.m. Somebody sent the, it looks like your email. Oh, it's an article from 2018. Okay, I think we'll leave it alone for now. I opened it up on a different browser. Actually, let me read it real quick. Screw it. We'll read it real quick. For some reason on Google Chrome, it was trying to make me sign up, but and here I was able to do it. No, I don't curse. Unless sometimes people, they get very offended if you say like, damn. I sometimes curse, but normally I'm not like cursing up a storm and stuff, because sometimes, people have kids around. Sometimes I curse, but not really. But if you find damn offensive or like, oh my God, then I don't know what to tell you. You know what I'm saying? Like, sorry. I mean, good luck with that. Trying to find somebody that doesn't say that at all, or whatever. I mean, it's possible, but I don't know. So this one says, this is from 2018. The detectives wanted to know what the boy had to say, but he could barely speak. As the 8-year-old lay in the hospital bed, tubes ran in and out of his body. Gauze covered the burns that blanketed his legs and arms. On his belly, an open wound exposed his intestines. Wow. In a quiet voice, he said he wanted to sleep. They let him, but the detectives had questions. Do you know who did this to you? They asked. Dad, said the boy. Do you know what he did to you? He had a knife and he stabbed me, he said. I'll tell you more when I'm awake. The first interview with Ronnie occurred 4 days after his father. The first interview with his son occurred 4 days after the father, Ronnie, was accused of murder and other crimes in a bizarre and seemingly inexplicable attack in March 2018 that claimed the lives of the boy's mother and sister. Kenyatta, known as Keke, 33, was shot to death. His older sister, 9, Ronnie, was fatally stabbed and beaten. Their Rivera home was set ablaze. Despite serious injuries, the boy staggered outside to arriving deputies and paramedics. His words are among the trove of documents, audio, and video recordings that the Hillsborough prosecutors released Monday in their case against the elder Oneal. The materials offer the most detailed, albeit still incomplete, account of what transpired that horrific night. When the violence began, the boy said later his parents were talking about God. When the violence began, the boy said later his parents were talking about God. My dad was saying Allah Akbar, the boy said. The Arabic phrase means God is great. He mentioned his mother came into his room while he was sleeping. He mentioned something about school the next day. He mentioned his dad grabbing a shotgun he kept under the mother's bed. He told the detectives his mother hid in a closet. His father found her there. He shot her, the boy said. She ran before he could make another shot. I ran, but I forgot to get my sister. Ronnie O'Neal was in the mother's room. Her brother said his sister had autism and could not talk. The father retrieved an axe from the garage and used it to attack her, the boy said. In the chaos, the boy made his way to the kitchen. His father found him there and retrieved a cooking knife from the cabinet. Don't say a word, his father told him. He said his father made him repeat the words, God is my father. A flurry of 911 calls alerted sheriff deputies to the carnage at the 13248 Pike Lake Drive. The first came Barron, who told the dispatcher she'd been shot and pleaded for help. In a recording of the call, a series of screams follows. The dispatchers repeatedly asked for an address. The transcript notes the elder O'Neal's voice in the background. Make me a real man, he says, according to the transcript. Say Allah Akbar. A child's voice is then heard repeating Allah Akbar. Now get in there and kill this bitch. Oh, so much for cursing, right? Whoever, the sensitive person, sorry. O'Neal says, according to the transcript right now, noise and screams are heard. I'm so sorry, Ronnie, Barron says amid the cacophony of pounding and yelling. I'm trusting you, she said. I trust everything you do, she said. I trust everything you do. Say it again, he said. Oh, this is sick, man. That's probably why they haven't put out this 911 call. Say it again, he said. I love you, she said. Allah Akbar. Oh my God, dude. This is fucking nuts. Oh, God. What am I doing? This is so graphic. I can't help to curse. A second 911 call came in minutes later from Oneal. I've been attacked by some white demons, he told dispatcher. Barron ran from the house. She collapsed in the yard of a neighboring home. The neighbors peered outside and saw Oneal standing near her body. You don't understand, he said. She killed me. Deputies arrived. Smoke began to waft from the home as flames consumed the interior. Investigators later found a gasoline can in one of the bedrooms. See, I didn't hear that part. Gasoline can. In the driveway, deputies drew their guns on the boy's father. Another neighbor recorded a cell phone video showing Oneal striding toward the street, ignoring commands to lie on the ground. He endured a taser shock and was arrested. Keke is the devil, Oneal said as he sat in the back of the patrol car. The kids are the devil's kids. But later in the sheriff's interrogation room, he appeared calm and lucid, according to the sheriff's report, giving coherent responses to questions about his background and his family. When detectives read him his rights, he said he wanted a lawyer. In the months since his arrest, a judge ordered 3 doctors to assess whether Ronnie O'Neal III was mentally capable of facing trial. 2 said he was not. Okay, this is a good article. 2 said he was not last month. Sorry, 2 said he was not, and then last month he was declared incompetent and sent to a state hospital for treatment. At some point, he will return to face trial. And this is from 2018. He's obviously in trial now. But that's interesting to know. 2 said he was not competent of facing trial, and now he's here representing himself. Relief words, right, Patty? Yo, some of this stuff you can't help but curse, right? I mean, reading some of this stuff is horrible. Damn, so how did he get to represent himself? I guess somebody gave him the okay. Somebody must have said he's okay, I guess. Wow. Ron, mentally ill? Oh. Just found something else. Maybe I shouldn't have found this. What is this? Did I read this? Oh, no, that's the fatality report. All right. So, yeah, definitely that's it for the stream. That's it for the stream, man. Yo, but thank you guys for coming. I really appreciate it. If you wouldn't mind hitting like on the way out. And subscribing, please. If we could get to 40K, that'd be nice eventually. You can become competent through treatment. Maybe he got treatment. Maybe he got treatment and he's defending himself now. He fired the public defenders. I usually keep it pretty clean though. I'm not like, there's some places or some of the videos you watch, people are wilding out. I usually keep it for the most part. But yeah, I'm out of here, man. You guys take care of yourselves, and I'll be looking later to see if there's some sort of update. I would love to see this guy doing some sort of cross-examination and seeing the kind of questions he's asking and how long this is going to go on, and also how long it's going to take for the jury to deliberate, right? Like, how's that going to go? It's going to be quick, 30 minutes, hours, days. I'm sure it's probably going to be quick. So, but yeah, appreciate you guys. Take care of yourself. Public pretenders. All right, take care.